Los Angeles International Airport is bustling with passengers moving hurriedly through the terminal. Amidst the crowd, Emma Lane stands patiently in line at the check-in counter. She's dressed in a plain white t-shirt and faded jeans. Her sneakers are worn but clean, and she clutches a small, scuffed leather handbag. Emma waits quietly, eyes scanning the departure board, her expression calm but noticeably tired. She adjusts the strap of her bag, feeling the weight of the stairs around her. People pass by, glancing at her as if she doesn't belong. Chloe, a flight attendant in a crisp uniform, strides confidently through the line. She spots Emma, her gaze sweeping over Emma's simple outfit. Chloe raises an eyebrow, her lips curving into a slight smirk. As she walks past Emma, Chloe shakes her head slightly and mutters under her breath, "People like her don't belong in first class." Emma clutches her first-class ticket tightly, her fingers slightly trembling. Despite holding a premium ticket, she chooses to stand quietly at the end of the line, not wanting to draw attention to herself. Up ahead, Chloe beams brightly at a group of well-dressed VIP passengers. Her voice is sweet, her posture poised. "Welcome aboard, sir. Enjoy your first-class experience," she says, practically oozing charm. As Emma steps forward, Chloe's expression shifts. The warmth in her eyes disappears, replaced by a cold, dismissive stare. She crosses her arms, looking Emma up and down as if she's an intruder. "Ma'am," Chloe says, her tone clipped and condescending. "The economy check-in line is over there." She gestures toward the crowded, bustling line for economy class passengers. Emma takes a deep breath, forcing a polite smile. She raises her hand, holding up the first-class ticket. But instead of looking at it, Chloe simply smirks, her eyes never leaving Emma's plain outfit. "You must be mistaken," Chloe adds, barely suppressing a laugh. Emma takes a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly as she holds up her first-class ticket. "I really did purchase a first-class ticket," she says, her voice calm but firm. Before she can say more, Chloe steps forward, folding her arms and tilting her head. "Ma'am," she interrupts, her tone dripping with condescension, "please don't hold up the line. First class is reserved for our premium passengers." The people in line behind Emma begin to whisper. A man in a tailored suit nudges his companion and mutters, "Does she actually think she belongs up here?" A woman in designer heels shakes her head, a smug smile on her lips. "First class? Yeah, right. Maybe in her dreams." Emma's cheeks flush red, but she keeps her gaze steady. She tries to hand Chloe the ticket again, her fingers shaking slightly. Chloe doesn't even glance at it. Instead, she rolls her eyes, her expression exasperated. "Look," Chloe says, voice raised slightly as if Emma were hard of hearing. "The economy line is over there. I suggest you try your luck there, ma'am." Emma bites her lower lip, her throat tightening. The whispers grow louder, the mocking glances more obvious. She can feel the sting of humiliation washing over her, but she remains silent, clutching the ticket as if it were a lifeline. Emma stands frozen for a moment, her eyes still fixed on the first-class sign. She takes a shaky breath and steps out of the line. Chloe watches her walk away, a smug smirk playing on her lips before she turns her attention back to the VIP passengers, her tone suddenly sweet and accommodating. Emma clutches the first-class ticket tightly in her hand, feeling its edges press into her palm. The crowd in the first-class line continues to move forward, oblivious to her presence. As Emma heads toward the economy check-in, a wealthy couple dressed in designer clothes strides by. The woman accidentally bumps into Emma's shoulder. Emma stumbles slightly, but manages to keep her balance. "Oh my gosh! I'm so sorry." Chloe rushes over to the couple, her face a mask of concern. "Are you all right? Can I help you with anything?" The woman waves her off dismissively, adjusting her expensive sunglasses. Chloe gives them a warm smile and continues to fuss over them, completely ignoring Emma, who is still standing there, eyes downcast. Emma swallows hard, feeling the sting of tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. She grips her ticket even tighter, as if it were the only thing grounding her in that moment. Without another word, she turns and walks slowly toward the economy check-in line, her shoulders slumped and her heart heavy. Emma settles into her cramped seat in the economy section. The fabric is worn, and the legroom is tight, a stark contrast to the spacious first-class seats she was supposed to be in. She takes a deep breath, pulling out her phone and scrolling through her work emails, trying to distract herself from the humiliation still burning in her chest. A middle-aged man with graying hair takes the seat beside her. He adjusts his glasses and glances at Emma. His eyes widen slightly in recognition. "Excuse me," he says, leaning slightly toward her. "Are you Emma Lane?" Emma looks up, forcing a polite smile. "Yes, that's me." The man's face lights up. "I almost didn't recognize you, Ms. Lane. It's been years since the last shareholder meeting. I'm Tom Carter, CFO at Redmond Investments. We met during the merger talks." Emma's smile grows a bit more genuine. "Oh, of course. It's good to see you again, Tom." Tom shakes his head, chuckling. "Wow, I'm surprised to see you sitting back here. I thought you'd be in first class, given, well, you know." Emma's expression falters for a brief second, but she quickly regains her composure. "Sometimes, a change in scenery isn't such a bad thing," she says lightly, her voice steady. Tom nods, oblivious to the tension beneath her calm exterior. "Well, it's great to see you again. Maybe we can catch up once we land." Emma nods, turning back to her phone, her fingers gripping it just a little tighter. The plane takes off, lightly shaking as it ascends into the sky. Emma leans back, closes her eyes, trying to relax, but Chloe's mocking words still echo in her mind. In first class, Chloe is serving drinks to the passengers. She smiles brightly, leaning in warmly to a businessman in a sharp, expensive suit. But as she walks past Emma in economy, Chloe doesn't even glance her way. Amy, another flight attendant, stands nearby, observing everything. She notices how Chloe deliberately ignores Emma, and the strained look on Emma's face as she tries to keep her composure. When Chloe returns to the service area, she leans closer to another flight attendant, whispering, "Can you believe that woman thought she belonged in first class? Hilarious." The other attendant chuckles. Chloe smirks, her eyes glinting with smug satisfaction. Amy hears every word. She glances at Emma, who is trying to appear calm but is gripping her phone tightly. Amy presses her lips together, feeling a growing discomfort with what's unfolding. Outside the window, clouds rush by, but inside the cabin, the atmosphere is growing heavier, tenser than ever. Amy takes a deep breath and walks over to Emma, her expression gentle and sincere. She kneels slightly to meet Emma's eyes. "Ma'am, is everything okay? You seem a bit unsettled," Amy says, her voice warm. Emma forces a small smile, trying to brush it off. "I'm fine," she replies, but the strain in her voice is evident. Amy hesitates, her gaze dropping to the crumpled boarding pass in Emma's hand. "May I take a look at your ticket?" Emma nods and hands it to her. Amy unfolds it, and her eyes widen as she reads the words clearly printed in bold, "First class." Amy's heart sinks. "Ms. Lane, this is a first-class ticket. You're supposed to be sitting up front," she says, her voice low but firm. Emma just nods, her expression a mix of resignation and hurt. Amy straightens up, her jaw tightening. She turns to Chloe, who is busy chatting with another passenger. "Chloe," Amy calls out, her tone sharper than usual. Chloe turns around, feigning innocence. "Yes. Did you even check her ticket?" Amy asks, holding up the first-class boarding pass for everyone to see. Chloe's face drains of color. She stammers, I thought, she was in the economy line, so I assumed." Amy's eyes narrow. "You assumed?" Passengers nearby begin to whisper, their eyes darting between Chloe and Emma. The tension in the cabin grows thicker as Chloe swallows hard, searching for a way out. Amy takes a deep breath, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment as she turns to Emma. "I sincerely apologize, Ms. Lane. Please, let me escort you to your rightful seat in first class." Emma stands up slowly, feeling the eyes of every passenger fixed on her. The whispers intensify, each word laced with shock and guilt. "Wait, she's a first-class passenger?" a woman mutters, glancing at her friend in disbelief. "I thought she was just another economy traveler," another man whispers, his gaze dropping in shame. Emma keeps her chin high, walking with a quiet grace as Amy leads her down the aisle. Chloe watches, her face pale and her jaw clenched. When they reach the first-class cabin, a senior flight attendant steps forward with a warm, genuine smile. "Ms. Lane, welcome. We're so sorry for the misunderstanding. Please, make yourself comfortable." Amy helps Emma settle into her plush seat. The luxurious surroundings stand in stark contrast to the ridicule she endured just moments before. Emma leans back, her expression calm but unreadable. Chloe watches from a distance, her fists clenched, struggling to maintain her composure. As the senior attendant offers Emma a glass of champagne, Emma takes it with a calm nod. For a brief moment, her eyes meet Chloe's. Chloe quickly looks away, her face burning with shame. Emma takes a slow, deliberate sip of her champagne, then sets the glass down. Despite the luxury, her face remains impassive, but her eyes hold a quiet, unspoken strength. Chloe follows the manager into a small office, her heels clicking against the floor as she nervously tucks a strand of hair behind her ear. Amy stands beside the manager, her expression firm but calm. The manager crosses his arms, his gaze sharp. "Chloe, can you explain why a first-class passenger was forced to sit in economy?" Chloe swallows hard, her face flushing. I thought she was in the wrong line. She didn't look like a first-class passenger." Amy clears her throat, holding up a tablet displaying the footage from the security camera. The screen shows Chloe dismissing Emma without even checking her ticket. The manager shakes his head, disappointment evident in his eyes. "Chloe, you're here to provide service to all passengers, not to judge them by their appearance." Chloe's shoulders slump. "I understand, sir. It won't happen again." The manager leans forward, his tone stern but measured. "Every passenger deserves respect, regardless of how they look. This is your first and only warning. Do you understand?" Chloe nods, eyes fixed on the floor. "Yes, sir." Amy steps forward. "I'd also like to suggest a refresher course on passenger service for the entire crew. It might prevent incidents like this in the future." The manager nods thoughtfully. "Good idea, Amy. Make it happen." Chloe bites her lip, her jaw clenched. As Amy and the manager leave the room, she sinks into a chair, feeling the weight of her actions pressing down on her. As the plane begins its descent, the cabin is filled with the soft glow of sunset filtering through the windows. Chloe takes a deep breath, straightens her uniform, and walks toward Emma, who is calmly reading a book in her first-class seat. Chloe's hands tremble slightly as she stops next to Emma. "Ms. Lane, I'm really sorry for the misunderstanding," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. Emma closes her book and looks up, her expression composed and calm. "A misunderstanding?" Emma's eyes meet Chloe's, unblinking. "You didn't even look at my ticket. You looked at me and decided where I belonged." Chloe's cheeks flush, and she averts her eyes. "You're right. I shouldn't have done that." Emma leans back, her gaze unwavering. "I didn't need a seat in first class to feel important. But maybe next time, you should think twice before judging someone." Chloe nods, swallowing the lump in her throat. "Thank you for your understanding," she mutters before turning away. Emma watches Chloe walk down the aisle, her shoulders slumped, and then returns to her book, a calm, resolute expression on her face. The plane touches down smoothly, and passengers begin to gather their belongings. Chloe moves swiftly down the aisle, her face pale and tense. She can feel the whispers and glances following her. Meanwhile, in the waiting area, a young woman is scrolling through her phone. Her eyes widen as she clicks on a viral video titled, "CEO Denied First Class Seat for Looking Poor." The video shows the entire confrontation between Chloe and Emma, from Chloe's dismissive attitude to Emma's calm yet powerful response. The comments flood in. "Unbelievable. Is this how they treat paying passengers? Emma Lane is a queen. Classy and powerful. Shame on that flight attendant. This is 2025. We're still judging people by their clothes." Chloe exits the plane and checks her phone. Notifications are blowing up, mentions, tags, and direct messages. Her heart races as she reads the comments, each one a slap to her pride. Across the terminal, Emma sits in a quiet lounge area, her phone buzzing non-stop. Text messages from colleagues, friends, and even competitors pour in. "Saw the video. Are you okay? Let us know if you need support against the airline. Emma, you handled that with such grace. Truly inspiring." Emma takes a deep breath, closing her eyes for a moment. This wasn't how she expected the flight to go, but perhaps it was exactly what needed to happen. Chloe sits in the cold, sterile office, hands clenched tightly in her lap. The walls feel like they're closing in as the airline manager, Mr. Lawson, flips through a stack of printed complaints and social media screenshots. Amy stands nearby, her expression a mix of discomfort and pity. Mr. Lawson looks up, his eyes stern. Chloe, we've received numerous complaints about your behavior on Flight 298. Can you explain why a first-class passenger was denied her rightful seat? Chloe swallows, her throat dry. I thought she didn't belong there. She looked ordinary. Mr. Lawson raises an eyebrow. Ordinary? You mean she didn't look rich enough for you? Chloe lowers her gaze, unable to respond. Amy steps forward. I was there, sir. Ms. Lane was nothing but polite. Chloe treated her like she was invisible. Mr. Lawson closes the file and folds his hands. Chloe, effective immediately, you're suspended without pay. You're also required to attend mandatory customer service training. Discrimination based on appearance is unacceptable in our company. Chloe's eyes fill with tears as she nods, her face pale and expression blank. Amy exits the office, casting Chloe one last look, a look of disappointment mixed with regret. Alone in the empty office, Chloe sinks back into the chair, staring blankly at the wall. The once confident, smirking flight attendant is now just a shell of herself, haunted by the consequences of her actions. Emma sits gracefully under the bright studio lights, her expression calm and composed. The talk show host smiles warmly, holding a microphone. Today we have a very special guest. A woman whose recent experience on Flight 298 has sparked a powerful conversation about respect and human dignity. Welcome, Emma Lane. The audience applauds. Emma nods politely, her eyes reflecting a quiet strength. Emma, the host begins, you could have chosen to sue, to lash out, to humiliate those who wronged you. But instead, you chose to speak up with grace. Why? Emma takes a deep breath, her gaze steady. People often judge based on appearances. It's human nature. But what truly matters is how we treat each other, with kindness, respect, and dignity. My clothes don't define my worth. My actions do. The host leans forward, visibly moved. So, what's your message to those watching today? Emma smiles softly. If you see someone being mistreated because of how they look, speak up. Be the voice that reminds them that true value isn't found in fancy clothes or luxury seats. It's found in the way we treat one another. The story of Emma Lane serves as a powerful reminder that true worth isn't determined by appearance or material possessions, but by how we treat others. Despite being humiliated and judged for her simple attire, Emma chose to respond with grace and compassion, turning a painful experience into a lesson about respect and human dignity. Her calm and dignified response not only exposed the biases of those around her, but also inspired others to rethink how they perceive people based on outward appearances. Emma's message is clear: kindness, respect, and empathy are the true markers of class, not expensive clothes or first-class seats.